Hi, everybody. Mr. Dolan here, and I want to take a few moments to walk you through paraphrasing sources for your social injustice essay. So, in essence, what you're doing when you paraphrase is that you're taking information from a source, and rather than quoting it verbatim, you are putting it in your own words, but we have to remember that since you still took the information from an outside source, you have the obligation to cite that source parenthetically, meaning in the body of the essay, as well as the works cited page. So today we're going to work a little bit with, the parenthetical citation, how we work these in the body of the essay, and then we'll get to the works cited page at a later date. So just want to walk you through a couple of the advantages of paraphrasing first. As you continue on in your academic careers, and particularly as you go on to college and grad school, your professors are going to want you to start leaning more heavily on paraphrasing than direct quotation of sources. And the idea here is that often paraphrasing demonstrates a much deeper understanding of a source than simply just pulling out quotations and incorporating those in your essays. I think we all know and can admit that direct quotations can be taken out of context. And I mean, generally speaking, when you paraphrase something, you really have to demonstrate a pretty deep understanding of not only the source, but the overall context, the nuances of an argument, or the information, etc. And really what we want to remember is that the mental process that is required to paraphrase a source really can help you gain a truer understanding of the information that's housed within that source, right? It's a process whereby you have to read something, you have to process the information, and not only process it, but process it well enough and gain a deep enough understanding of it to put it in your own words. And that's a much different mental process than simply pulling out direct quotations and dropping them in your essay. So, moving forward. Now, this is 6 steps to effective paraphrasing, and my source is the Purdue OWL Online Writing Lab. So, even when I'm doing something as, informal as putting together slides, right? I didn't come up with this information on my own. I got it from the Purdue OWL Online Writing Lab, and even in my slides, I have to do my due diligence and explain the source of the information. I think we do kind of live in a culture right now where we feel like if it's online, it's mine, and that couldn't be further from the truth, right? This is still the intellectual property of an organization, of the Purdue OWL Online Writing Lab, and when I take that information and use it in my slides, I still need to give credit to the source where I got the information. So I also linked this link to the Purdue OWL Online Writing Lab. This will take you specifically to the part of that website that deals with paraphrasing. So, if you have any questions as you're working on the paper, this is a great resource to jump in and sort of have those questions answered before, you email myself, Ms. Coughlin, etc. And also, the Purdue OWL Online Writing Lab is just an amazing source of information for anything and everything MLA. So if you spend some time kind of clicking on the tabs on the left and navigating that site, there's all the information you need, not only about paraphrasing, but about, incorporating direct quotations, how to cite sources, etc. So it's a really, really valuable resource. I'm not going to read these 6 steps to you. You have access to the slides. So you can go through and read these on your own. But what I would say, the best tip that I can give as far as paraphrasing sources is to reread the original passage or the passages that you want to paraphrase until you understand the full meaning, right? Because once you understand the full meaning, it becomes much, much easier to articulate the information in the source in your own words. So again, I would recommend that you read the passage or passages that you want to paraphrase multiple times until you fully comprehend what the author is saying. And then I would set the original aside. Now right here it says to write your paraphrase on a note card. That's a little old school, I think, for a lot of our tastes. If you have a piece of scratch paper, jot down your paraphrase on the piece of scratch paper. If you prefer to do it digitally, open up a Google Doc and type your paraphrase. And then you want to go back to the original passage, look at your paraphrase, and make sure that you haven't taken anything verbatim from the passage. So you want to ensure that your paraphrase truly reflects your own words, your own terminology, and your own explanation of the information in the source. The last thing that I'd like to walk you through is a couple examples of paraphrases. So what I did is I took this direct quotation from the Time magazine article that we use for the CRAP test. And the direct quotation starts with, an overwhelming majority of Americans believe that gender inequality exists in the United States, but there is a stark disagreement, etc., etc., etc. I don't need to read the quotation to you. And since I pulled this direct quotation, I've got the author's last name and the page number in parentheses as the citation. So my paraphrase begins with, although there's disagreement about how prevalent gender inequality is in America, many Americans think that it does indeed occur, etc., etc., etc. So again, I'm not going to read my paraphrase to you. I'm not going to read the direct quotation to you, but what I would strongly suggest that you do is read the direct quotation on your own on this slide, read my paraphrase, and what you'll realize is that I've taken that information, I've read it enough times that I can articulate what the author's saying in my own words, and I've done so in my paraphrase. Now, there's two different ways that you can integrate your paraphrased information in this paper. Remember, with your direct quotations, you must use signal phrases. And Ms. Coughlin and I have both gone over that with our respective groups. There's no option in how you integrate your quotations. Remember also that one of your quotations needs to be integrated colon style, one of them comma style. So make sure that you have those documents open and that you're paying meticulous attention to detail as you go through and you're incorporating direct quotations. So the first method by which you can incorporate your paraphrase is paraphrase with the citation at the end. So again, my paraphrase is, although there is disagreement about how prevalent gender inequality is in America, ... right? And now for this first example, I've used the more traditional method that we've already practiced when we were pulling quotations from short stories for our chunk paragraphs, etc. And since I did not integrate the quotation using the signal phrase, I'm using the author's last name, Barone, page number 1, and the period goes outside of the citation. So that's that kind of traditional last name page number that we've practiced previously. The second option that you have is the paraphrase with the citation in the signal phrase, and then just the page number at the end. And again, this is what we practice with the direct quotations. So you notice the signal phrase. In the 2019 Time magazine article, many American men have a skewed view of gender inequality. Time poll finds, comma, inside the quotation mark. Remember to use quotation marks to punctuate article titles. Emily Barone explains that. And then my paraphrase again starts with, although there's disagreement about how prevalent gender inequality is in America, etc., etc., etc. The paraphrases are exactly the same. The only thing that's different in these two examples is the integration. So you notice in this one, I've used the signal phrase. So I've got the year, 2019. I've got the source, Time magazine. I've got the title of the article, many American men have a skewed view of gender inequality, Time poll finds, right there. And then I've got the author's name, Emily Barone. All of that information is in the signal phrase, so the only thing that I need to do at the end is put a page number in parentheses, and please remember the period goes after the page number in parentheses. I hope this is helpful. Good luck. Please let Ms. Coughlin or myself know if you have any questions, and I know you guys are going to do amazing work.